Alright, so welcome back to Dapper Dog Plays. This is a new type of video I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna talk about I'm sure if you're a Crusader Kings 3 fan, you've seen that the news for the next chapter 3 is coming out, and I've got my thoughts on it. I'm actually pretty excited about it, actually. There was a dev diary number 143. I'll probably post some images up about it. Super excited about it. It's got some chapter 3. I've already pre-ordered it because I'm a loser, and well, I'm not a loser, but I'm a super awesome mega chad. It's Crusader Kings 3, and also I love the game, so of course I'm gonna pre-order it. Essentially, the next pack just looks really cool. Well, I'm not against the current pack. I think this next pack's gonna be really cool, gonna add some really interesting things to the game that I think it really needs to kind of revitalize it, to keep it fresh. It's definitely gotten a little stale in some places. I think it's gonna add some gameplay that's gonna make things a little bit better for people, get some verisimilitude. That's a word I was like, said it right. But anyway, I think the big part of this is the first part of Legends of the Dead, which is the core expansion. Now, I guess it's like they made a point to mention that a core expansion focuses on broad systemic changes to the core gameplay loop or high impact systems that affect large parts of the game world. This is our first core expansion. We want systems that were big and all encompassing, affecting all rulers on the map in one way or another. That said, here's a high level list of what you'll see in the expansion and its accompanying update. So basically, the expansion, Legends of the Dead, will cover legends, plagues, it'll have the Black Death, and a system called legitimacy, which seems to be, from what I've heard it explained, seems to be like not the reverse, but like a companion to dread. So think of legitimacy as the legitimacy of your ruler within the eyes of the people that they are controlling. So the people, your legitimacy will be threatened by probably like events that make you look poorly in the eyes of your vassals, your people, your council, your courtiers, and just a general populace. You can expect that if you have low legitimacy, you'll probably get events that will trigger private rebellions or challenges to your rule. People that think that have a better maybe claim to your crown or your seat will be much more apt to act. There would be other events that are kind of tied around that. They'll probably put you in danger of being, assassinated or something like that, because your legitimacy, if it's high, the reverse of that will probably be true. So in a way, that's kind of like Dread, although Dread is pretty straightforward, like fear, like how much they fear you, how ruthless you are. And I mean, it used to be an old school CK3 was new ruler, who this, let me execute every one of my dungeons. Oh, now I'm at max dread. They're all gonna fear this 10-year-old who just executed 12 people. They got rid of that, obviously. They fixed it. But so that's one of the things that I think legitimacy will do. The Black Death, I think, is kind of self-explanatory. This will have diseases, and the Black Death is gonna be the kind of like an end game. It's usually mid to late game event. Starts in the 1300s. And it's supposed to just wreck Europe and probably pretty much just anywhere that's near there. And it's probably like a soft reset. It'll probably gut a lot of different kingdoms, make those that are really strong weak, and give people a chance to kind of take advantage of the chaos. Chaos is the ladder, as they say. So that's going to be an interesting mechanic. I'm kind of intrigued to see how that'll work out. Plagues in and of themselves can supercross land. They get spawned by random chance. Activity army, so those of us that like to conquer, I know I'm guilty of that. We might be plague spreaders, so we have to be careful with that. Plagues will probably, different types of plagues will target different types of populations. So some may target the elderly, some may target children, some rulers and stuff like that. I mean, in general, obviously it's going to be a threat to everyone, but there may be people that are more susceptible to certain types of plagues that are popping up. I think that'll be interesting to see how often plagues pop up, because that will be the more important, I think, balancing factor. Like, how often are plagues hitting different regions? I think we'll get a better idea of how armies are going to affect plagues. Hopefully there'll be ways to maybe get perks or ways to improve like the cleanliness of your armies if you don't want to be spreading plague everywhere you go. And I'm confident that there'll be something along those lines. We may even get I mean, it hasn't been mentioned here, but I'm guessing anything that's a core expansion, we might be getting more what do they call them? Traditions, legacies for our families that might be able to work around like legitimacy plagues and definitely probably legends. I would suspect that that's something we'll see, but it has not come out yet. I'm only speculating. And speaking of legends are tales of our ancestors, epic deeds. We can already create in the game like, you know, a book about your history, but it's kind of like abstract. You don't really have a lot of control over it. It kind of just mentions things, but you don't really, they're not really tied to anything that's happening in game. Legends are supposed to be tied to things that actually happened in the history of your game. So, and they can be embellished, obviously. They might be like, they slew a dragon when they probably just like killed a bear or something, but it's a common part of medieval life. Your legend grows, spread. The book will be updated with your story, and events you get along the way allow you to alter certain aspects to suit you better. I would assume that there are probably events that suit you better, but there's also going to be events that make it worse. I would like to think that there'd be the flip side of that you might get events that have a chance to make your legend go in a direction that you didn't intend for the worse of. But in general, legends seem to be a thing that will improve. And in there, I believe in one of the screenshots, they showed that legends will have an upkeep cost. So you have to spend a certain amount of gold per month to keep spreading the legend. So that's an interesting kind of balancing act there. Okay, I'm interested to see how that works. Also makes you more famous, makes your probably your lineage more famous. It's probably another way to farm. I'm so bad with all differences in what their names are, but it's more a way to farm stuff for your family. So I think that's gonna be pretty interesting. But overall, it sounds good. Obviously, we don't have a lot of details yet, other than a few screenshots and the videos. But this is supposed to come out March 4th, I believe. So we're gonna be getting it pretty soon. So I'm already really excited about that one. The next major expansion is going to be Roads to Power, and I think they've already put up a roadmap of when these are supposed to come out in general. I think the only one that has an exact date is the first one I mentioned, which is Legends of the Dead. Roads to Power, the next one. This one is very Byzantine focused, so it's focused on. And I just want to take a second here to say that if you enjoy this content, if you're enjoying it and you're having a good time, click that subscribe button. Just click it. Lovingly touch it, caress it, punch it, smash it, do what you gotta do. Subscribe. We're gonna bring in a lot more CK3 content to the channel. I've been trying to do other stuff, but I mean, CK3 will always be a mainstay of the channel. That's what people seem to really resonate with the most. And it's a game that I really enjoy playing. So we are here with CK3 for the long haul. Subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think it's going to be really cool for, tell me below what you think is going to be a good addition or what you would like to see come to CK3 or what annoys you the most about the game. Whatever, hit me up. Let's get back to it. The good old Byzantine Empire. Adding more to the bureaucracy, imperial administration, which is some kind of system to use our influence to improve your standing for noble families. Basically, I think it's going to change up how play is done within the Byzantine Empire, which is, I think, going to be interesting to make it much more unique. I think it's probably needed that. I know some people have tried to add things to make it more like, I guess, how it used to be. I'm not a history reader when it comes to the Byzantines, but I would suspect that it didn't operate completely like the rest of the feudal world. It was probably just a little bit different. Now, the one piece of this one that's got a lot of people, I think, excited is adventurers. You can set out across the world as a historical adventurer, one of your own making, or keep playing your beloved character after being unfortunately deposed from your lands. Travel to distant realms, take on contracts, gather friends, wealth, and fame, do mercenary work, or settle in lands. So this is essentially landless play. This is something I think a lot of people wanted for. I know that there is a mod for Crusader Kings 2 that covers landless play. You can start from like just a peasant and work your way to being like a baron eventually, and then going off from there. Now, keep in mind, it has already been noted from the devs that you will not be able to play a baron. If you become landed again, you will start at the count level. They just said the count is the standard lowest level they're going to worry about. That might be disappointing. I'm not that disappointed about it. I don't see the appeal for Baron play because Barons have such little power, but maybe someone out there is probably disappointed. And if you are, sorry. I'm sure there'll be a mod that'll come out that will rectify that if you really want to be Barons, especially that they're going to be adding all this content for being able to. I think what will sell the Adventurer is just how much content there is to do it. I love the content in CK2, but I do often think it gets too repetitive in some places. And that'd be my biggest fear with this kind of content, is that you become landless and you only get like 4 different events that you can really do. There need to be a great multitude of events, and really you could recycle some events for landed play and landless play so that you can do a bunch of them. But again, it really just depends on how many events there are and how compelling the gameplay is. But this is really cool. It does allow you to keep playing if unfortunately you lose your land. Let's say you play an extremely hard start and you lose it, but then you can keep adventuring and maybe come back later and rise to power again. Again, we'll have to see how that works out, what systems are in place, how you can move from court to court, how you engage in politics and diplomacy, and how those skills work at a lower level when you're interfacing with kings, queens, dukes, and all that stuff, and how you can, like, we become a part of their army, we be essentially a knight. Like, if you join a court and you're trying to be a knight, will you then be compelled to be a knight in all their armies and all their wars? Which would make sense, but I could see how they may not do it, because technically, as a vassal, you should be compelled to be a knight, but you're never compelled to fight in your lord's armies. And I could see that being the same if you're unlanded, but hopefully they'll give you the option to do so, because the fighting in people's other armies and taking out contracts, that seems to imply that there will be, but there may be a different system at work. So we'll see. But this is one I'm super excited about. I'm almost certainly going to do a landless run. As soon as I can get my hands on Roads to Power, like the first thing I'm going to probably create is an unlanded person trying to rise up, bring their family from, peasant status to maybe, to greatness. I think that'd be a very compelling and fun story to kind of watch. Otherwise, I think for Roads to Power, they've also mentioned everything Byzantium. They said they're not exaggerating when I said we'll be dripping with Byzantine flavor, so I'm guessing if you play within there, it'll be similar to like Northern Lords, where they reflavored parts of the UI to be much more, to look, Byzantine-like. You know how like you get like the runes and stuff and the wood if you play in the Northern Lords, you play a Viking or whatever. So I could see that happening, doing some reflavoring of things and stuff like that, and just adding more events that kind of reinforce the fact that you're playing within the Byzantine Empire. I've never really played there, so that'll probably a good chance to try that. Matter of fact, I might just be an adventurer in the Byzantine Empire just to get best of both worlds. That might be a good idea for that. But, and so I think the next one I mentioned was an event pack, which is the Wandering Nobles. This is something that I'm glad they're doing, and I think they need to do more of this kind of stuff. If there's one area where Crusader Kings 3 can get stale a little bit, is events. Once you've seen a few events, you're going to see them, especially over a long period of play, you're going to see the same birthday event over and over and over. Even on the same character, sometimes you might see it like 4 or 5 times, but how long that character lives. If you're playing a mod where characters can live a long time, you might see that same event several times. And what I'm talking about is when we're like, oh, there's a noise, you don't know what's happening, and then you get a surprise party, and you pick a gift, and you never get like the rat's tail or some crappy gift that you just want to burn. So the game needs more events. This event pack will hopefully add more travel events. I'm glad they want to flesh the mechanic out, even more reasons to travel, things that can happen on the road. Really, it just needs more events. You just need more. Like, sadly, this is one of those contents where it just needs more. And it needs more events, and I think it needs to be balanced enough so that way, like, if there's one thing I hate about the travel events is that people die constantly. And I guess they're supposed to die. Like, it's the Middle Ages, it's a little bit more dangerous, but the amount of times I've had relatives just die at sea because, they're constantly traveling by sea, and sea death events are, like, so common. They happen all the freaking time that I hope they rebalance that a little bit, because, oh, man, that's one that kind of needs to be looked at. And I also, yeah, that'd be a big one. But the travel mechanic, I think I really like it. I'm glad they're going in and adding more events to it. It needs more events. They need to do that with everything. There needs to be more romance events. There needs to be more assassination events. They need to, I mean, really, I would love to just do an event pack for just all the basic events in the game. Add more types of assassination, add more types of romance, more types of seduction events, more just types of daily events, more lifestyle events. I mean, those could use a refresh, could use some new stuff that we could add for martial, learning. I mean, all those events could use some additional stuff, more maybe even tie them into the memory system a little more. I think that would be a very good idea. Just needs more. I would love a capstone event, like if you've managed to get all of the trees done, maybe a rare event where you get a chance to, I don't know, something. But again, there's probably mods that probably do that kind of thing, but I would love for more events. I think more events is just a good thing. And so the Wandering Nobles event pack, while it seems to be the smaller of the three that's listed, I think it'll go a long way to revitalizing people that just probably don't travel. Because realistically, if you go do like the tournament, you go to one tournament, you've seen a majority of the events. You know, I feel like you keep going back to them, you just see the same event over and over and over and over again. I know there's only so many ways you can say you've won a duel or you won the book, but I mean, they could use a little more of what's going on there. And apparently if you go ahead and purchase the chapter 3, you get an instant unlock Couture of the Capettes. It's a French-based, basically clothing pack. And I think it's focused on the high medieval period. So this one's very historical, probably looks very nice. It's instant unlocks once you've already got it. You'll be able to look at those things when you get to the high medieval period for the French. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they post for Legend of the Dead, because that looks like it's going to be very fun. I'm looking forward to diseases, and I'm just looking forward to I'm looking forward to the second one, which is going to have the landless people. Legends looks like it'll be fun to mess with. Diseases will be interesting to kind of work around, see how that changes up, how we play. I think the game needs more events that go through and change up how we're playing. If there's one thing, I think that it needs more events, large scale events that can reset the playing field. The game can get a little stale towards, like, I would say, for me anyway, the game can get a little stale when it gets to the mid to late game, because at that point everyone's pretty big, it's pretty stable. There can be some changes, but either you're steamrolling or you're just, if you're playing well, you're probably steamrolling. Like, you could steamroll if you wanted to, but you're not, because really the computer's pretty incompetent. And having events that kind of reset that, or at least add a little more chaos to things at the end, make it so even you may have to struggle a little bit, even in the mid to late game, I think would be a good idea. So I'm looking forward to it, but otherwise, this is looking really cool. This is looking like a really good year. I'm really excited to see how these come out, and it's definitely revitalized my level of play for Crusader Kings 3. So stay tuned. We're going to be bringing more of that content, of course, to the channel. All right, well, that's all I got. So I'm out. See ya. Bye.